So I just wanted to talk to you first off, kind of in general, since courts are closed, everything's kind of, you know, stopped. How's sort of operations in your office been kind of changed and affected by all of this?
So, of course, like everyone, we've been sort of switching to this new world, a lot of which is remote. And the courts, most of the physical buildings are closed, but work is still going on. So that's one of the messages we want to get to people that, if you need help, if you need a restraining order, if you need to section somebody in the family, something like that, we're open for that. It looks a little bit different because you're doing it maybe from home or you're doing the hearing as we're doing this on a Zoom call. But we're doing all of that. We're very fortunate here in Middlesex because we have such a great relationship with our law enforcement partners and with the sheriff that we've really transitioned to, first of all, the police have been great about using good judgment, about not making arrests unless the public safety is really impacted. So that's helped us, first of all, to keep them available for lots of other things, limit their exposure to people. And it's also helped us in working with the sheriff in keeping the numbers down of people who are in custody. But of course, we want people still to be connected to us. So we've done a lot of work around that, both in terms of the things that we're posting. And one of the things we're really proud of is we have set up a text line for anybody who's been the victim of something, who thinks they've been the victim of something, who might need some protection. We have a text number, which is 781-281-4066. And during business hours, 8:30 to 5, if you text that number, a victim witness advocate in our office will live text back and can help direct you or answer your questions. Often people come to us with very personal issues. So this is a good person-to-person way to be doing that. We're also doing a lot of work with the places that are open. So for instance, it's great to have this opportunity to talk to you and get messages out to people. One of the things we're really concerned about, you and I have talked about this before, is many folks, especially our seniors, being taken advantage of during this period of time. Because unfortunately, scammers use these things as an opportunity to try to part you from your money. We're concerned about kids, for kids whose homes may not be very safe and who's keeping an eye out on that. So lots of different issues going on.
Yeah, so you mentioned, and that was one of the questions that I had was, scammers always take advantage of any kind of situation, especially things that cause people fear and anxiety. Are you hearing any specific types of scams that have been going on during, directly related to the pandemic?
Yes, really three different kinds of scams. One has been around the stimulus checks that the federal government's been sending out. So people have reported getting calls. This is the federal government calling to check, confirm your social security number, confirm your bank number, all of that kind of information that we don't want people giving out. So that stimulus check is going to just show up either in your bank account or in your mailbox. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to provide any information. So if you get a call that someone's looking for that information, that is 100% a scam. The second is people are really capitalizing on folks, especially seniors, being afraid about the virus and making pitches about either they've got a good test or they've got a vaccine or they've got a drug. And those things just aren't out there for the public to buy. So that is also a scam. And the third, and in some ways the worst, is people are so generous, and people are donating money to help those who are out of work. So a lot of it is calls to donate money or resources to people that may have lost their job or are hungry. And most of that money is probably not making its way to the people you intend. So if you want to make a donation, you should use charities that you know, or go to established websites and things to make a donation.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in Burlington, we know we have got people helping people and Help Us and the Burlington Woman Aid are all good ones that people can donate to. So you mentioned that the text line. Talk about the advantage of having a sort of a line of communication that people can utilize through text rather than just picking up the phone and calling.
So there's really three. Probably the most concerning is that obviously while we're all hunkered down at home, if your abuser is in the house with you, you may not have a great opportunity to go be talking on the telephone. Especially if you're in close quarters and somebody's monitoring, you can't do that. But you may be able to be using your phone or your computer for work and be able to send a message to somebody. The second is that it gives people an actual connection. There's lots of great resources out there, and we've posted a lot of those on our website. But they are things that you can go look at and see information. They're not necessarily going to answer your individual question in the way that talking to a real person does. And the other thing is, some people, and especially younger people, they're just more comfortable texting. That's how they conduct their life, and they're used to that. And especially on some personal things, they might be more comfortable just sending a text, especially if they don't know someone in the beginning.
Right. I know. Sounds great. The last thing is, I know that you spend a lot of time trying to work and help people sort of facing opioid addiction, and I imagine that with all the meetings canceled and sort of everybody distant, that is possibly an issue of concern. Just talk about what kind of resources are still available for people who are struggling in that way.
So we've done a lot of work around that, one of which is on our website. We created an opioid resource dropdown, so you can go on there and kind of list a lot of things that are out there, some of the virtual meetings, places that you can reach out. People are still getting into treatment. We really want to stress that. We did one of our opioid task force meetings on Wednesday, I guess, with over 150 people, sort of everybody impacting this issue. And lots of the providers talked about how they are still successful in getting people into treatment if this is the moment when you're ready. We also have folks that are still willing to give rides to people if they need to get to treatment. We've been, as we always do when there's a concern, talking to the people who love somebody who's struggling to really make sure they have their Narcan. And we are making Narcan available through all of this crisis. So if folks need to do that, you can reach out to the police department, you can reach out to us. We're making it available. Make sure you have it. Check on people. This is hard on everybody. And this is also the time when we get worried that people might be concerned or depressed or upset about a lost job or any of those things, and it might trigger an urge. So that opioid page is a great resource, as well as some of the other information we've been posting on our site. And as well, so many of the providers are there that can help people.
All right, good. Well, it's great to know that resources are still available for people, because it's difficult times for everybody, but I'm sure it's harder if you're sort of already sort of facing that kind of issue in your life. Well, that was all the questions that I had for you. I really appreciate you taking some time to do our first Zoom interview together.
Oh, this is the first one. That's great. Yeah, thank you. And we're great. We're happy to get the information out to people that all the resources are still in place. You're doing it differently, but we're still here to help.
Great. Good to know.
Thank you so much. Stay well.
You as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.